All right. So, guys, we'll start with the next question. We are going to see how do we sort an array, right? Now, what do you mean by sorting? Sorting means arranging the elements of an array in sequence, in order, correct? Let's say I have an array. Now, this array, I have some values like 34, 32, 14, then I have 16, and then I have 5. Okay, I have some elements in this array. Now, what I'm interested in is sorting this array. How do I sort this array? After sorting, it should be 5, 14, 16, 32, 34. Okay, that's the meaning of sorting. Now, yesterday, whatever logic I covered, removing duplicate elements from an array, those duplicate elements of an array you can remove only when array is sorted. Keep that in mind. I've mentioned this very clearly. But after the class, again, student came and asked me that, sir, what if there is some value like 5, 6, and then 5? It will not get sorted. Okay? These are just interview questions. Again, I'm repeating it. They just want to know some basic logic, how you are building. Fine. So this is the array, and this array has some index numbers. Fine. So 34, 32, and then you have 14, then you have 16, and then you have 5. Okay? And there are index numbers that's been given here. So it starts with 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, and then 4. Now, how do I perform a sorting? Let's see the logic here. So firstly, in order to sort an element, I'm going to compare the neighboring elements, 0 with 1. Okay, let me consider this as I and this as I plus 1. Very frequently asked question, whether you are a fresher or experienced person. Okay, whether you are a fresher or experienced person, this question is one of the most favorite question even today in interview. How do you sort an array? In fact, we can do it in one line. But in interview they're telling build logic. I don't want one line answer, build the logic and show me. Okay? So in order to sort an array, I'll compare the neighboring elements. First, I will compare 34. Is it greater than 32? And if true, if this is true, then swap the element. So I'm comparing now, I'm comparing 34 with 32. 34 is greater. If greater, swap the element. Swap means interchange. 32 will come here and 34 will come here. Is this clear? Next. After this, compare the next neighboring element, I with I plus 1. This time, I am now comparing 34. Is it greater than 14? Is it true or false? It is true. Now, if it is true, then swap the element. How do we swap the element? Interchange the element. So 14 would come here and 34 would come here. Is this clear? Next, compare next neighboring elements. So now I'm going to compare 34 with 16. 34 greater than 16. True or false? It's true. When the condition is true, you'll swap the element. How will you swap? Interchange. 16 would come here and 34 would come here. Is this clear? Next, compare again I with I plus 1. 34 greater than 5. 34 greater than 5. True or false? This is true. And if true, swap the element. Take 34 and 5 interchange. Move 5 here and 34 here. Now you notice at the end of first iteration, the heavy element has gone to bottom. But complete sorting is not done. Only 34, which was in the beginning, that 34 has gone to the bottom of array. But this is not completely sorted. Then, sir, in order to sort all the elements, what to do? In order to sort all the elements, you have to firstly look at the size of array. What is the size of array here? Can you tell me what is the size of array? 5. If the size of the array is 5, array length minus 1. Those many times you will have to do the comparison of neighboring element. Right now, I did only round 1 of comparison. How many rounds of comparison such that complete sorting should happen depends on size of the array. Size of the array minus 1. Okay, which means 4. So maximum 4 rounds would be required to sort this array. How many rounds would be required maximum? 4 rounds would be required to sort this array. Let's now write here 2. This is round number 2 now. Like this, maximum 4 rounds are required. It can happen before that, but maximum number is 4 rounds. Okay, it can happen in 2 rounds also, it can happen in 1 round also, but maximum rounds of comparison required will be 4 because the length is 5. So let's again start comparing. I'm in round 2. So 32 greater than 14. True or false? What will you do when it is true? Swap the element. What's the meaning of swapping the element? Interchange. 14 would come here, correct? And 32 would come here. Is this clear? Next. What are you going to compare now? Can you tell me? What are you going to compare here now? 32. Is 32 greater than 16? True or false? Is it true or false? True. If true, what you will do now? Swap the element. Take 16, move that here. And take 32, move that here. Is this clear? Now compare again I with I plus 1. Compare 32 with 5. So now 32, is it greater than 5? Right? True or false? True. If true, swap the element. What will you do now? 32 and this is what? 5. So interchange the element. Now the final comparison is not required, but for easy logic building, I'm doing this. Now again compare 32 with 34. When you compare 32 with 34, true or false? 32 greater than 34, true or false? It is false. Performance point of view, you should not do that. We should not compare the sorted element, but we will do that because this is just interview topic. And from interview point of view, they're telling sort array. So we are following one basic logic. Is this clear? Okay. How many rounds are over? Can you tell me? Online students, how many rounds are over? We'll see what happens when it is false. Sita. Okay, Vivek. How many rounds over? 2 rounds over. बीच बीच में क्वेश्चन पूछना पड़ेगा क्योंकि तभी पता चलेगा आप जिंदा हो या बेहोश हो गए हो. और फिर बेहोश कैसे हो गए हो? परमानेंटली बेहोश हो गए हो कि टेम्पररी बेहोश हो गए हो? परमानेंटली बेहोश हो गए हो, देन आई हैव गॉट वन नाइस प्लान टू मेक यू फेमस. एक फोटो निकालेंगे, बीच सर्कल में फोटो डालेंगे आपका, एक गार्लैंड, 2 अगरबत्ती, आते जाते वाले सब देखेंगे, बिना जॉब लिए फेमस हो जाओगे. अलुमनाई मीट में आने की जरूरत नहीं है. व्हाट डू यू से? हाँ, अच्छा आइडिया है. न्यूज़पेपर में भी एक एडवर्टाइजमेंट दे देंगे दैट जॉब लेते लेते बच्चा परमानेंट बेहोश हो गया. करेक्ट. होश में रहना है. जॉब लेने का तरीका चालू होता है विद द एटीट्यूड एंड द बॉडी लैंग्वेज. यस और नो? सीखने के लिए अगर आप में एनर्जी नहीं बची है तो रिजल्ट पक्का मालूम ही है क्या होने वाला है. पूरा फोकस रखना है. राइट? कोई फ्री में कोर्स नहीं कर रहा है ना यहाँ पे? नहीं. पैसा भरा है ना? पैसा भर के सोने के लिए पैसा भरा है क्या? चलो सर, टेक 26,000, आई वॉन्ट टू स्लीप. अगर वैसा है तो बोलो एक गद्दा, तकिया वगैरह सब अरेंज करवा देता हूं. 1 बेड, एवरीथिंग. आराम से मेरा भी काम इजी हो जाएगा. करेक्ट. योर पेड मनी टू लर्न एंड गेट जॉब. सोते सोते एक काम अच्छे से करो. या तो परमानेंटली सो जाओ या तो बराबर से सीखो. क्या बोलते हो? परमानेंटली? अच्छा ठीक है, चलो समझ गया मैं. नाउ लेट्स कंटिन्यू. नाउ we'll go with round 3. Round 3. Now round 3, again I'm going to compare the neighboring elements. Is this clear? Now I'm going to compare 14 greater than 16. What is it, guys? True or false? It is true or false? It is false. If it is false, will you swap the element? No. If the condition is false, swapping of element should not happen. Is this clear? Next, again compare. Now the next neighboring element, let's compare. Now upon comparing the next neighboring element, what do you notice here? 16, is it greater than 5? Is it true or false? It is true. If it is true, what you will do now? You will take 16, you will take 5, interchange. Okay, done. Now compare next. Okay, neighboring elements, 2 with 3, false. 3 with 4, false. How many rounds over? Huh. Sometimes the sorting might get over in 3 rounds only. But maximum round required will be what? 4. So now I'm starting with 4th round, and this should be our last round of comparison. Round number 4. Fine. So again compare the neighboring elements, guys. How will you compare the neighboring elements? You will compare 0 with 1. So let's compare 14 greater than 5. True or false? True. If true, what will you do? Swap the element. Let us swap the element. Take this, move this here. Take 14, move this here. Next comparison should not be done, but we are doing it for easy way of understanding it. Next, compare 1 with 2. False. 2 with 3. False. 3 with 4. False. Array is now sorted. Fine. Now we need to write the logic for it. Everybody got the theory now? So tell me, if the array length is 9, then how many times I need to do the comparison of neighboring element? 8 times. If the array length is 100, how many times I need to do the comparison? 99 times. Is this clear? Now in comparison, what are we doing? Comparing neighboring elements. How will you compare neighboring elements? I with I plus 1. Yesterday also we did that. Correct? We are comparing I with I plus 1. If the condition is true, swap the element. Otherwise, don't swap the element. Now, one of the very important core logic here is swapping element. How do I swap an element? So, in your day-to-day life, you have done swapping, okay, without your knowledge. How? Now, I'll ask you a simple question. Let's say your mother, she's very particular about the vessels in the kitchen. Correct? Yes or no? Correct? They always keep milk vessel separate. अगर मिल्क वेसल में सूप बना दिया, उस दिन आपका काम तमाम हो जाएगा. Yes or no? And there is another vessel here. This vessel, she use it only for water. Let's assume. The vessels are different. Okay? The logic is correct. Why? Why they keep the vessels different? For milk, keep a separate vessel only for milk. If you prepare soup, and in that tomorrow if you put milk, दूध क्या है? फटने का chances रहेगा. So what they do, they maintain separate vessels. Isn't it? Now see this here. I have two vessels. One day what you did now, okay, you went home and you did this now. You poured milk into the container which is not meant for milk. And you poured water into the container which is meant for what? Milk. Galti kar di. Right? Milk you are pouring it in what? Water container, and water you are pouring in milk container. Now, okay, suddenly you realized that I have used wrong containers. Now, how will you interchange this now? Tell me the logic. How will you interchange now? Milk and water you need to now interchange. How will you do it? Apply common sense. इस पे कोई logical questions नहीं पूछा है. Right? What you will do? You will take a third container. Yes or no? You will take a third container. Agreed? Yes, this is a temporary container. Am I right? This is called as what? A temporary container. Okay. Now what you will do? Let's say I have water here now. I have water here. Okay. And this is what? Milk. Fine. So what you will do now? Firstly, you will take water and you will move it to temporary container. Is this step one? Is this step one? Yes. Then what you will do? Step two. You will transfer milk to water container. Let us transfer. Let us transfer. See this here now. Take this. Move that to what? Water container. This is your step number 2. Correct? Step number 3. In the temp container, water was there. Take water and move that here. Step 3. Step number 3. Now see this here. If this is your variable x, this is your variable x, this is your variable y, then see what are you doing? You're firstly copying the value from x to temp. Can I tell that? Then you're copying the value to x from what? Y. Am I right? Correct? Then you're copying the value Next is what? You're copying the value from temp to y. So I have y here. You're copying the value from what? Temp. Do you agree with that? This is what I did. Correct? I first copied the value from x to temp. Then I copied the value y to x. Then I'm copying the value temp to y. Okay? So this is how we will be doing swapping with this simple logic. Okay? But this is a core logic for sorting an array here now. Fine? So how do we do this? Let's observe. Okay, we need not compare, Vivek. I already told you that now. Okay, because I'm not bothered about the performance, time complexity, all of those things. We are not talking about that. I just want to sort an array. Interviewer is asking that question, go with that particular thing. Is this clear? Okay, so they'll tell you open a notepad, simply type the code and show me what code have you written down. Okay, so next, let's continue. Now the next thing, we can improvise this better, but I want to keep the logic simple because I don't want people to get confused in interview and forget the things. Right? If you really want to perform a sorting, we can do it in one line. We need not even do all of these coding, write so many lines of code. Okay? We already have concept of collection. We have concept of stream API. Already we have the best concepts available in Java to implement sorting, removing duplicate elements with the best performances. Okay? Anyways, let's continue further now. Okay. Now what are we going to do? The next part, I want to show you one more thing before I continue further. But before that, let's write this particular logic here and see that. Okay. So I have here one variable int x is equal to 10. I have another variable int y is equal to 20. I want to interchange. So first step what I did, I copied the value from x to temp. Do you agree with that? I copied the value from x to temp. That is what I did. Remember the diagram? And the next step you copied y to x. Correct? So this is y value. I'm copying the value of y to what? X. Am I correct? The y value is being copied to what? X. Correct? This is what we did. What we did? I copied the value of y to what? X. Then what we did the last step? Huh? I copied the temp value to y. Do you agree with that? Okay. The value of x was 10. Now let me see what is the value in x. And let's see what is the value in y. What is the value in y? Observe. Is it interchanged? X is printing 20, y is printing 10. Is this clear? Okay, so this is one part of logic we would require for swapping. Keep this in mind. The second logic I require is for loops. Now, I will use one for loop. I will use one for loop. Fine. I will use one for loop where I is less than 5. Now what I'll do is inside that I will use another for loop. Okay, I will use another for loop inside it. So this is I. Okay, this is I. And then I want to use another for loop. For use index less than 5. Less than 5. And let me print here j. Fine. Is this clear? Now my question is, when a for loop within for loop you create, what happens? What happens is, when I is 0, j will execute completely. It will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. When outer for loop runs once, inner for loop has to run completely. This is how your nested loops will work. Fine. Now, outer for loop will become 1. So j will again become 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. When I becomes 2, j will again become 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. When I becomes 3, right, j will again be what? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Did you understand now? When I becomes 4, j will again run. What is that? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. When outer for loop runs once, inner for loop will run completely. Observe here. Observe here. Now see, this is the value of I. When I is 0, look at j. When I is 1, look at j. Correct? When I is 2, look at the value of j. When I is 3, the for loop printing j. When I is 4, look at the value of j. Which means, can I tell that when outer for loop runs once, inner for loop will run completely? Two major logics. If you keep these two major logics separately in your mind, you can build the code. Let's see that now. How to build the code. Okay. So let's start with an array. Okay. Int array. X is equal to. Let's take here the values. 34, 32, then I taken what? 14, and then 16, 16, and then 5. Am I right? I want to sort this. So I'll firstly use a for loop. I'll use a for loop and I will do your length minus 1. You know very well why I did length minus 1. Array index out of bound exception. Instead of not equal, make it equal. X of I greater than I plus 1. Make sense? Does it make sense? Yeah. X of I, it is greater than X of I plus 1. This makes sense for all of you. Correct? If it is true, swap the element. How to swap the element? Now consider this as X, this as Y. Consider this as X, this as Y. I don't have temp variable. So int temp. Initially, I'll store some value. Okay, initial value, local variable, good practice. Create a variable and store initial value. I've stored some initial value. Now what I'll do? Step 1, copy the value of X to temp. Okay, this is temp. What is X here? X of I. Okay, copy the value of X to temp. Next, copy the value of Y to X. What is Y here? If X of I is X, then Y is what? X of I plus 1. Copy the value from Y to X. So I'm considering this as X, this as Y. Copy the value from X to temp. Copy the value from Y to X. Last step. Copy the value temp to Y. What is Y? It is I plus 1 and temp. Okay, is this clear now? Everyone? Now, after applying this logic, I want to see what happened to variable X, that is array X. So I will use here a for loop. For now, we have not talked about for each. So I'm using for loop only. And let me print here SYSO X of I. After running this logic, what happens to X? Before the logic, X value was like this. After running this logic, what happens to the value of X? Let's see that. Only one element has gone to bottom, which means only one round of comparison has happened. 0 with 1, 1 with 2, 2 with 3, 3 with 4. Only one round of comparison has happened. I want to perform array length minus 1. So what I will do, take this complete logic, use another for loop, right? And inside that for loop, paste this. Right? Inside that for loop, paste this. Make this as J. Make this as what? J. Change this to what? J now. Did you understand? Everyone, what I did now? Yes. So when outer for loop is 0, inner for loop will run 1, 2, 3, 4. Comparison. When outer for loop is 1, again 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Outer for loop 2, again run. 3, again run. 4, again run. Is this clear, everyone now? Okay, let's see. Is the array sorted? Yeah. But as I said, interview question, logically we need to type the code and show we have done it. Sir, I can do this in one line. You need not do so much of circus, write so many lines of code in Java. That's where the stream API concept of Java comes in picture. But we will see that later, not now. Java 8 features. Okay? हाँ कहाँ पे यहाँ पे आप करिए लॉजिक तो आपका लास्ट एलिमेंट ऑफ कंपैरिजन नहीं होगा जिसको लॉजिक समझ रहा है आप करिए वो ठीक है हम क्या कर रहे हैं अभी सॉर्टेड एलिमेंट को फिर से कंपेयर कर रहे हैं एक्चुअली वो नहीं करना चाहिए बराबर अगर 32 and 34 are already sorted why are you comparing 32 with 34 again you need not do that right so I'm not doing that here purposefully okay I hope this part is clear for all of you yes online students देखो इसमें सब कुछ नहीं रखा है सारा चीज रखा है प्रोजेक्ट में समझे स्प्रिंग बूट हाइबरनेट माइक्रो सर्विसेज वगैरह 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 दैट इज द कोर पार्ट क्योंकि वहां पे जब जावा यूज करने लगोगे ऑटोमेटिकली अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ जावा विल बिकम बेटर ओके इज दिस क्लियर एवरीवन ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट्स क्लियर ओके हियर स्टूडेंट्स क्लियर ओके फाइन एवरीवन क्लियर विद आवर टुडेज क्लास राइट दिस डाउन विदाउट सीइंग नाउ अगर क्लियर हो ही गया है तो प्रोजेक्टर देख के नहीं लिखना है धीरे से लिखो मिस्टेक्स करो और मिस्टेक्स को करेक्ट करो प्रोजेक्टर नहीं देखना है So guys, slowly write this down. We'll meet up again the next class. That's on Monday. Tomorrow we have alumni meet. Okay. As usual, 12:30. We have alumni meet tomorrow, 12:30 to 1:30. We'll cover all interview questions. See, from that interview questions, we are also changing syllabus, right? Yes or no? What to make you learn? This all becomes very clear from alumni. Otherwise, it will become all assumption. Okay. So now I think whatever the place students are telling, those questions based on that, we are trying to modify our syllabus in all your existing batches. Is this clear? Everyone? Okay. So with this now, I'll wind up today's class here. We will see you in the next class. You see, we are still studying exception concept. Exceptions is not over. Let me tell you that, okay? We wanted to study array index out of bound exception. So in order to learn that, we started with arrays. Okay, we started with what? Arrays concept. So there are more concepts related to arrays. I will cover that in my coming series of lecture. And then from there, we'll continue further. Okay, bye guys. DevOps class will start. See the first 11, the Linux classes of DevOps. Okay, I will conduct that as a workshop. Means anybody can attend. Is this clear? Anybody can attend. You can attend, your friends can attend, anybody can attend. It will be 11 days of free classes on Linux. Actual syllabus. Is this clear? Dummy syllabus nahi rahega. It will be an actual syllabus. Whoever wants to attend Linux classes, they can attend. Okay? ठीक है? ये फ्री ओपन रहेगा. तो सबको एटलीस्ट पता चलेगा कि लिनक्स क्यों पढ़ना है. वरना वही बात हो जाएगी, आई एम अ डेवलपर, व्हाई शुड आई. Correct? So all that you will get an idea. Probably Monday I'm on holiday. Probably. आप छुट्टी मत ले लेना. आपको मैसेज आएगा तो ही छुट्टी लेना है. ओके, 99% आई एम देयर. 10% chances are there I might not be there. If I'm not there, we'll communicate with you in your WhatsApp group. WhatsApp group, I will drop a message on Sunday. If you don't drop any message, come Monday class. Okay, class will be there. You keep that only in mind. Is this clear? Because not confirmed. Bye.